Well, hello to all the people that is watching us and to my lovely fellow panelists with me today. My name is Yiset Mosquera. I'm a therapist and pineapple support. I have been working with them since June 2020 and a Latin America therapist basis. So right now, I'm currently putting the view from that side of the sex work, since we are the ones that put much more of all the sex workers that are currently online. I'm sorry if my English sometimes kind of flip-flops. It's my second language. So if I am not making myself be understood, be free to correct me or just say like, look, that wasn't so good. Our panel today is Net that Connect Us. We're going to talk about support and how that it's very important for us as people that work in this industry. This industry, it can be isolating, damaging. It's a very hard industry to be in. And being alone and doing with all that involves, it can be a pain in the ass. Besides a lot of other things. But in this time, I will prefer that each of you present, because each of you are big personalities in the industry and have so much to apport to this. So I will let each of you to present. Who wants to start? That's the thing here.
Good morning, Brittany Andrews.
Nice to meet you, Brittany.
Is it okay if I start?
Okay, you do you, sweetie.
All right, good morning, everybody. Brittany Andrews here. Really excited to participate on this panel and for the Mental Health Summit in general. I've been in the adult entertainment industry since I've been a sex worker since 1991, which means I've been in the business for 31 years, which means most of the individuals I'm acting with weren't even born when I started sucking cock on film.
Yeah, you're a legend, actually.
Yes.
I'm quite pleased to see you around here with us. You're a damn legend.
I also feel as though, I'm uniquely gifted by the universe to participate in this discussion today as well. I myself participate in multiple recovery and support groups. I do multiple 12-step support groups for trauma, family dysfunction, early childhood sexual abuse, drugs, addiction, alcoholism, and I've been participating in support groups for over 10 years. And I also, within my own family structure, the reason that I participate in these groups is because I come from family dysfunction, childhood sexual abuse. And I don't have, I'm the only one that has decided, in my life and my family to use drugs and alcohol as a coping mechanism, but I've been sober now for about 10 years. However, because I do come from that, from family dysfunction, I do believe that there's a lot of that particular type of thing within the adult entertainment industry, not to put a blanket over everybody, but there is a lot of individuals that come from, poverty, sexual abuse,
difficult spaces,
dysfunction, and then they end up using drugs and alcohol as one of the many coping mechanisms. I also use social media. I also have eating disorders. I also use workaholism, all these different things as coping mechanisms. And, one of the main ways that I stay healthy with my own mental health is by consistently participating in support groups, because of my family dysfunction, I never had any support otherwise. And being a sex worker, it can be very difficult to have people understand your life and what you're doing, your job. Everyone just thinks I suck cock all the time, and God bless, I do it fabulously well, honey. But most of my job is sitting in front of a computer, and just that kind of misunderstanding of, fully what the job entails can be difficult to reach out to others and get the true kind of support that you need. So I'm a firm believer in, you know, making sure that we learn as part of our own mental, you know, healthy mental health, to understand, to know when we need help and to ask for help.
Okay.
And then for myself, as somebody that wants to participate in being somebody that asks for support, but also knowing how to be supportive. And I really thought that the opening speaker that we just had before, where she had an active listening, an active listening class of how to be supportive to others within our network, was really beautiful, because we're not quite often taught how to listen and how to hear and how to be compassionate and supportive to our fellows. And I felt as though she gave a lot of really good advice. So yeah, so I guess that's what I'll start the kickoff with that, and then I'll let somebody else, I'll pass it on to the next.
Thank you
Yeah.
for your input. You have so much great background and work have done in all these 3 years you have been working in the industry. You are a big supporter of this, and I feel your experiences and have you live and experience it can bring great information and insight on the discussion we're going to have. So right now I'm lending the word to NIKKI. NIKKI, please tell us about you.
Sorry, let me just unmute myself. Hello, everyone. My name is NIKKI Knight. I've been in the industry since 2010 is when I started as a webcam model, and I was camming for about 3 years. And then I got the opportunity to actually work at head office for Cam4. Before I was a webcam model, I was a makeup teacher. So I was a teacher, I was leading things. Then as a cam model, of course, I got experience there, and I got this wonderful opportunity to work at head office to be a coach and a trainer, which is honestly my passion in life. Like I honestly, I live to serve. I live to serve my community. I live to serve models. I absolutely love helping, and it is one of my passions. One of the things that really did drive me, especially at the beginning, was my own experience as a webcam model, and that there was no support. Like there was no nothing. There was no blogs, there was no coaches, there was no anything like this, like these wonderful things like Pineapple Support. There was nothing. There was no help anywhere. And the only place that models were getting help was either from each other, maybe asking someone who wasn't a model. And I think we all know what kind of advice that was. And
terrible
then
advice, probably.
Absolutely terrible advice. But I mean, like, unless you've done it, it's hard to give advice for it because you have no context of anything. Even, even from people who used to do sex work. That's fine, though. Or else we were learning from our viewers. God bless some of them. Damn others to hell. But God bless some of them. Right? So I really wanted to take that experience of mine and make the NIKKI character, myself, or NIKKI, I wanted to make her every single thing that I was looking for when I was a webcam model. I wanted her to be like a big sister. I wanted her to be helpful. I wanted her to be someone you could just talk to. I wanted, like, every single thing that I am or that I built my brand on today is just things that I truly believe, and it does come from my own experience, because I absolutely started camming out of complete and total poverty. Like, I was so broke, I almost lost my apartment. I was thinking about doing illegal things. I tried to be a drug dealer, but I couldn't do it because I was guilty. I felt way too guilty. I was like, what if somebody gets addicted to this? What if someone underage I just couldn't do it. And I was just, I did work with in-person sex workers for a while, where I was driving them to and back from work, and I was helping them with their bookings, which was, again, it was a great experience. I met wonderful women. And then I decided, I'm going to go do something just for me. And I went online. So all those things that I got to kind of experience and touch, I just wanted to be what I felt was missing. And that's really my whole, that's my whole deal, is I just want to be what I knew was missing. And I hope to provide that going forward and just forever. Cause I truly, I live to serve my community, because they did so much for me.
Well,
and
thank
that's
you
me.
for well, that's me. It's amazing how humble you're sound when you're supporting and giving so much knowledge from an empty spot that you just mentioned it, that it's constantly a thing that there is never enough information for models. And in this side of the country, of the world, not the country, at this side of the world, there is a big damn void of information. So with the models I work with, the sex workers I work, there is constantly a void of information. So thank you for being here, and I appreciate all the knowledge you're going to bring us today.
My pleasure.
Lizzie, please you introduce to us, sweetie.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm Lucy, and everybody else. Glad everybody's here. I've been a sex worker since 2007, and I've been using pineapple support since 2020, I think.
Okay.
And really came in clutch. One particular, was actually on a vacation in a beautiful, like paradise area, miserable, wanting to die. That was just, if anyone's ever been through that, where it's like, oh my God, everything should be, and everything was just falling apart. Everything was falling apart. And so I reached out to pineapple support, and it was really helpful to me. And that started, I'd done therapy over the years, and but it kind of started me on a new thing. And the last year has been wild, to say the least. And I'm super happy that that compassion is a topic today, because that's very much what helped. And it was the thing. It was the thing that helped good people with compassion, and then me helping other people, and then self-compassion, which my friend Christian is here today too. And Christian helped me out a ton for the past year. I mean, it came in clutch. So I'm so glad we're all here. And it really is the trick. I mean, we all have, I don't think it's just sex workers. I think everybody has some shit going on. But with sex workers, we have maybe extra shit that most people don't have. And then we also have the ability to get real with each other. Because after you fuck someone in the ass, or they fuck you in the ass, everything's kind of like on the table. Like, it's not weird to be like, oh, I have trauma with that. So I have like, oh, sorry, I did a little trauma response. You know, it's not like, whoa, you okay? It's like, no, me too. This is my trauma response over here. Yeah, you know, it's a beautiful thing. It has been just a wild year of, changed genders, ended marriage, my whole body, ripped apart, put back together, violent stalkers trying to kill me and kidnap me. That kind of stuff has been interesting. And thanks. It just is what it is. When I leave my apartment now, there's a guy, my neighbor, who wants to kill me. So I bring a gun, and then we square up. And are we doing this? Are we doing this right now? Maybe not today. And then I get my truck and I drive off. And that's a part of our lives, for a lot of sex workers. It's just how we got to do it. And I need friends to get through this kind of stuff, and people that I can be real with, because saying that shit on Twitter ain't going to do anything. It's not going to help. And unfortunately, of course I go to the police and I get restraining orders and all that kind of stuff. They can't, they're like, well, kill them if you can. That's where we're at. So that, and I've had some rough spots, and Christian and a bunch of other people have been there and took the calls, and and really the active listening thing we just listened to was really helpful. Here's what works in my experience. If someone, I call Christian, like, hurting, Christian listens, and then there's no need for advice, but we have universal respect between us. Like if Christian says, hey, why don't you check out this book? Or you thought about this? Or I don't know, or maybe I'm full of shit. I'm like overly exaggerating something. I have friends like Christian and other people who I trust will be like, is it like that? I mean, I'm just saying, we're not going to like gaslight each other, but we're just like helping probe for the truth. And then just being there for each other, being vulnerable around each other is what helps. That has saved the day. What doesn't work is listening to a friend go through something and waiting for my turn to say, oh, that reminds me of me.
Yeah, that happened to me. And that kind of thing that is everything but empathic.
So that's the thing, is put the brakes on that. What about me? The selfishness, and then just try to be present And nature will fill the room between us. I mean, it'll all fill in. You can't, there's no vacuums really in the world. So like it'll fill with what it's supposed to. That's been my experience. But super glad to be here. This shit's really important. Really, really important. Thanks.
Thank you for being here with us. I mean, what you just mentioned, it just gives us a roller coaster experiences. It sounds like sex work experience a shit ton more of damaging, life-breaking, life-changing experiences than most people that works in any other kind of job. But I'll let that for after the presentation, because all of you have mentioned amazing things I want to get on, and we only have an hour. Sadly, I would love to see it and chat with you, having some tea, some Coke, and get to know more of you, of course. But now let's give the space for our male companion today. Christian, go on. The spot is yours.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Christian Wild. I am a adult industry worker. I've been in the adult industry since also about 2007. I started out with sex work as an escort, and when I originally started, I was a male escort for men, and I was okay with that in my sexuality, but it was something that I had to develop into and learn about myself. And a huge part of that journey was having people in my life to be supportive of that process and say that everything that I was feeling was okay and it was normal, and to listen to me actively and not try and, give me that advice. And friend like Lucy and I are very good friends. So having these friends in each other's lives that are able to listen to what's going on without being that ricochet, like Lucy was talking about, as soon as you say something, somebody shoots something back at you. It's so nice to just be able to open your mouth and speak and say, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm struggling with, this is what I got going on. Because a lot of the time, just that speaking out loud slows my mind down enough to be able to understand what's going on. And that initial process of starting sex work and discovering adult film and all these different experiences that I was having that made me curious and kind of unsure. The discourse that I had in my mind and the struggle that I had with who I was as a sexual person was something that I couldn't really relate with a lot of people on. Not a lot of people were, seeing people in person to have sexual encounters with them as a job, or going and having, sex on film as a job. So I couldn't relate those experiences with anybody to a point where they understood where I was coming from until I had sex worker friends.
Yeah.
And how important that relation is, because it's a lot of the times I'll tell it like a civilian friend about a sex work story or something that happened to me that I need to get off my chest. And the entire time is like shock and awe. It's like, this is so abnormal for them. This is so out of the day-to-day life for them that it's kind of shocking. But like you said, you tell somebody that you have, that same relation with, they've been through the things that you've been through and done the things that you've done, so they understand the mental processes that also happen. That's a huge factor in me feeling supported as a sex worker, particularly. Not only just that, but as a person, having somebody in my life that feels like they're encouraging and they're they want to see me succeed. They want to see me do better. That's a huge part of my support. The people that I have in my life today, they welcome my choices, and they are accepting of who I am as a person and what I do for my job. And I don't allow any support system in my life that thinks negatively or brings me down. I can't have that. I want people that want to lift me up and support me and encourage me and move me forward and make me want to be a better person, and not think that, not feel criticized, not feel judged, not feel looked down upon. All people in my life I have today, nobody's like that. I don't have space for that.
That's
and
amazing.
For my mental well-being, I can't have that. I already doubt myself enough and question my own decisions, and am not sure about what I'm doing as a person in the world enough. I don't need other people helping me along with that process, And yeah, my friendship with Lucy is like one of those invaluable things that I have.
Lovely.
Before I just moved to Las Vegas this last summer, I texted her. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna need you a lot when I get out there, because I need that support. I'm gonna need your friendship. I'm gonna need your encouragement, and to not feel alone in this, and to not feel separated and isolated." I feel like it's a very easy thing to find myself feeling as a sex worker, particularly because my life is so much different than a lot of the people that I do know. I need other people that have the similar, things going on that I can relate with and share with, and kind of, this crazy thing happened to me today at work, and I need to talk about it, and have somebody go, "Man, I've had that happen too. That's crazy." But we'll move on. Everything will be okay. And, also, I'm very grateful to be here. I love talking about support systems. I also use Pineapple Support like mid-pandemic in order to get like some help with feeling like I'm not sure, guys. I don't know what's going on in the world. I don't know what my place in the world is. I'm scared. I'm confused. I'm anxious. I'm feeling angry. And it's just so nice to have an open, non-judgmental person to talk to. So I'm very thankful for this support system in particular, but not only just that, just to be here, talking about this stuff is such a privileged position. There's so many people that need support still out there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people that need to they need to reach out, have somebody reach out to them and grab them and pull them in and tell them everything's going to be okay. So I'm very, like, when I started, like a previous panelist was talking about, we didn't have these systems in place. We didn't have these things that we could reach out for and utilize for our mental health and our well-being. And so I'm very happy to push that message out there to the newcomer in the sex work industry about how we're a welcoming, supportive industry, and we have things here for people when they are struggling. It's a real beautiful thing. So thank you for letting me talk.
We appreciate your input, Christian. Actually, you're one of the few male sex workers I've been able to talk to, because this is an industry that's mainly conformed by women, and any kind, trans, cis, any kind of woman. Men are a minority. So having you here to give us your input, your insight, your experience is going to make more men ready to join this and feel heard. Because this industry kind of have been focusing mainly on how women's experience this, how they deal with this. So having you here to give us your input, your experiences, and how have you been dealing with that is amazing. I mean, I'm so grateful having you here. Even if we are surrounded for beautiful and amazing women right now, but it's glad to have you so you can put a different view or point of view for us. Well, as you have mentioned it before, this line of work can be pretty damaging, pretty isolating, pretty heartbreaking, pretty annoying. It feels like a spinal roller coaster constantly. You suffer from emotional burnout because you all the time have to be like smiling like this all the time, even if you feel like it's falling apart, feeling like crap, everything is going wrong, but you got to smile because you have to complete and you got to make some banking for the end of the month. But I would like to ask you a few questions related to your experiences and all the knowledge you have. That what things do you consider that a good community put in you? How a good community can help you to thrive? Well, I call it a community, but we're talking specifically with support.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a few friends, and of course, you know, these things rotate, right? You get closer and farther from different people, but there's a few people I keep in touch with every week, and
Okay.
I talked to one friend yesterday morning, and we don't call it mental health check-in, right? We're just friends, right? We're just friends calling each other, but call each other, hey, how you been? You got anything going on? I just want to say, hey, okay, cool. And then they tell me, I don't know. We don't break it down like this, but I guess what it is what's going well, what we're scared of, what they're scared of, what's hard, what's a win, what's not so much of a win, but that's okay, you know. And just keeping in touch like that has really made a huge difference for me.
Okay.
That I'm a big fan of writing pen to paper when it comes to any kind of growth in here or up here. And not all my friends do that, but it's just something I do. That helps me with the community part, because I wake up and, well, I'll just be real with you. You know, I'm like recently divorced, so I wake up in the morning arguing with my ex-wife in my head, right? And she's fine. There's nothing wrong with her, but that's just what happens when you're going through divorce, right? You're just brokenhearted, just, and then, so I wake up with that. So I know that's all just in here, right? It's just that. So I go right out, I journal it out. What am I? And it ends up, I think it's going to be a novel, and it's like 2 paragraphs of like my own selfishness, you know. And then I write that up, and then I look at, okay, where am I being selfish, angry, dishonest, afraid, or calling those things out. And then later when I call a friend, meet up with a friend, we get tacos or coffee or something like that, they say, how you been? I actually know the answer. It's not like that I'm this like, what do you mean how I've been? What, have you heard something? Like what? You know, or that, or like any kind of well, I need a posture, like I'm going really good, I got this money coming or thing, or bought this thing or that. That's not how I'm doing. You know, how I'm doing is that shit I just talked about. Right? So if I have that, I can use that like my side of the Velcro, like here's mine, and then maybe they'll put up theirs and on a stick, right? It's pretty cool. If I'm not looking at myself, it doesn't work so much. Tend to posture. There's a lot of lately narcissism gets like a really bad, that's like have you been affected by someone else's narcissism? It's weird, and I don't really buy all that, because we can't afford to in this industry, because our job is narcissistic. I mean, it's like what we have to go do, right? Like right, but it's on me to write the shit and do the work and make sure I untangle that. And Lucy is not reliant. I'm not entangled with that narcissistic bullshit that I have to go do at AVN. When I'm walking around AVN, I have to look good, and I have to, and it's competitive, you know, it is. Yeah. And, you know, we have to do that. So, but I need to make sure that has its place, and it goes there and then leaves there. And then Lucy just has a soul. And I have friends in my life that are into that. They have to be into that, not like competitive, what do we look like on Instagram shit. I mean, we need that too, but I don't know, hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I mean,
okay.
The thing is that this industry, and constantly watching yourself on a camera and watching your image over and over and over and over and over again, it kind of gets narcissistic at some point. Like, you're constantly taking pictures, taking videos, watching what frame after frame after frame of yourself. So it's kind of like, I'm full of me, actually. But having people around you to center you, to help you to connect, to reflect, to hold space for you, it's kind of like, oh, I'm not just this image I'm putting outline. I'm a person that has more complex sides, and having people that understand us make me feel whole and complete and understood. So yeah, I got you. Even if you feel that it didn't make sense, my job most of the time is making things sense. So for me, it worked. And for the expression of my fellow panelists, they got you too. Anyone want to put some thought on that?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna go? You go, Brittany.
Okay.
Which one? NIKKI, Brittany? Which
Brittany
one to go first?
Okay. Yes, I would love to jump on that. Thank you, Lucy, for what you shared right there. It really did spark a lot in myself. of exactly some of the same kind of stuff. You know, we definitely are in a business where it's all about social media, followers, looking beautiful, looking perfect, you know, going back to some of my own personal eating disorders, and things of that nature. It's really difficult not to have, you know, some kind of like body dysmorphia from looking at yourself on every angle, butt naked, for how many ever years, when you were going through some family stuff and you gained some weight, to then maybe you were doing something else and you lost a lot of weight, you know, over all the years of like being able to see yourself in different ways. And I know I love the terminology of using "do not compare and despair." That's one of my favorite sayings.
Okay, that's a lovely saying. I might steal it today.
Yes, do not compare and despair, because it's so easy with social networks to look at other models and say, oh my God, I wish I had that plastic surgery. I wish I had that life, you know, but you know, a lot of it is fronting, right? We're all on social media talking about how Avian was fucking fabulous, when in all reality, you got sick to death. You got in a fight with your boyfriend, you know, all this shit that you don't put on your social media about what really is true. And so I think that the ways that you can show up in your community to be supportive and to thrive is to be the opposite of that, right? To find a space with people or places where you can be your true self and to be vulnerable, and to allow people to know that, you know what, I'm not perfect, right? That I've got a lot of different things going on in my life right now. And to be able to find the people that you think are safe, that are these people that are not going to consistently always jump into the, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, you know, da 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 da, me. And then just, you know, kind of like what Christian was saying, at times, you know, misery loves company, right? But is that really what you need for good mental health? And I do think it is really important to evaluate, you know, the friendships that you have. And are they just feeding into your own bullshit and bringing you down, going north down the toilet? Or are they supporting, loving, compassionate human beings that are trying to bring you up to be your best self? And I think that's one of the difficulties that a lot of people that are in the adult entertainment industry have, is that when we say, like I started this off, right? You know, I had family dysfunction, childhood sexual abuse, drug and alcohol. Oh my God, it's because you're a porn star. If you just get out of sex work, your life is going to be perfect. And it's like, no, bitch.
That ain't happening.
No, you know what? I've been in this business 30 years and I'm so beyond grateful. It's allowed me as a woman that came from poverty, that came from no education, to have a very fulfilling life. It gave me the economic support so that I could provide myself with a safe space for me over all these years to be able to heal and to grow from all of those childhood issues that I've had. And over time, as I've done the therapy and I've done the work, and I show up, then I can participate in these type of things and share what's worked for me, in hoping that somebody else might hear it and they can relate, and maybe they might be able to open up and be vulnerable, because I do think it's so important. I think because of our business, and if we do say something to somebody and then they say, oh, well, you should stop doing what you're doing, that's the problem. Then you start going, I can't talk to anybody. And then you start isolating. And then maybe other behaviors, you know, come into it, you know, your anxiety, depression, if you're drinking a lot. And then, you know, becoming, I know I always was somebody that had a lot of suicidal ideations when I drank too much. And this all leads us down, you know, this really negative place. And so as we can kind of catch certain behaviors that we might be doing, and then we can be open and honest about it, And then we can find other people that understand, that are loving, kind, compassionate, tolerant, non-judgmental, and can support us to get out of that hole and to find, you know, some light and some beauty, because there's so much. You know, I know that you said that this business can be really damaging, but I think it can be extremely healing as well, especially for those of us that have had sexual abuse issues.
Okay.
And even, you know, like what Lucy was saying, that you can be on set and say, hey, you know what, this just triggered something from my sexual abuse trauma. And then somebody else to say, oh, I completely understand. I have that too. How can I be supportive in this moment? How can we stop and communicate with each other? Do you need a moment? Do you need to go to the restroom? Do you need me to follow you to the restroom? How can I be here for you at this moment? And be supportive while you're going through something. It might be the first time that somebody's ever been on set and they've had a trauma trigger, right? But I've been around for 30 years, right? So I can see it and I can just be there and say, I understand, right? I can validate their feelings at that moment, allow them to express themselves, give them a fucking hug, right? Hugs are not overrated, you know, giving somebody compassionate, loving touch, right? For some of us that have not had a lot of that in our life. So, you know, I think it is really important to find a group of people that really want the best for you and to help support you, and to learn how to ask for help, to learn how to become vulnerable, not to isolate, not to put yourself down with the compare and despair, that type of thing. You know, all of these are kind of things that you learn throughout the process, and they become disciplines as well. You know, and I think that that's a really important aspect of proper mental health. You know, I meditate on a regular basis. That's like something that I do for good mental health. It's something that really balances and centers me so that I'm not finding myself doing the compare and despair, or I'm not overly going, hey, listen to my problem. You know, I can be an active listener and I can hand out hugs instead of being selfish. So, yeah, that's what I had to say about that. Thank you. Nikki,
Oh.
sorry, hope I didn't take up too much time.
No,
you
not at
worry.
all. No, that was amazing. I have another saying I'll share with you. So I love the compare and despair. That's because I think, especially just as human beings, we all do that. And I know sex work is actually something that helped me get away from that. I would always compare and despair. And then being on cam, yes, you watch yourself all the time, and being a vain bitch is part of why I love sex work. It's amazing. I love being vain and I think it's great. I think we should all like just take a little bit more vanity in the morning. But
Okay.
one thing that I would all like, comparing yourself and all these things, and like showing up for you, like showing up for your community, as Brittany said. I think that's so wonderfully put. Part of showing up for your community, like for me, was working on like myself and making sure I wasn't letting like vanity or jealousy or anything, like just I wanted to be the most supportive person that I could. And that for me meant dealing with like just thought distortions. So one of the saying I wanted to pass on was, I wish I was as fat as the first time I thought I was fat. Because I would look at pictures of myself back like when I was on Playboy, and all I did was work out and tan. But at the time, all I saw was imperfections. And now when I look back, I'm like, I looked fucking good. So what is my problem? And basically all that saying taught me is that you are beautiful right now. Because if you thought you were ugly then and you look back and you see nothing but beauty, that means that you are just, this is a thought distortion, and you are beautiful right now. So, I mean, love yourself right now, because you are the beautiful thing that you are looking for, and that's just it. And the proof is the fact that you look back at a photo at a time when you might not have been in a good place, and you see yourself, you're like, I looked great, what was wrong with me? Right there, that myth is just busted in your mind. And another thing, like on the compare and despair kind of vibe as well,
Mhm.
is for me, like taking jealousy and kind of flipping it on its head. Like when you're looking at someone, when you're looking at someone else doing something or their success or whatever, really, I would like to sit and kind of like, okay, what is it that's bothering me about this? Because jealousy or like having envy can be a powerful compass to actually guide you in life towards the things that you really want. So instead of looking down or feeling envy or hate or having like negative feelings towards someone, you can look at them and take a real deep breath. Okay, I feel this way because this person has this. Let's see how I can maybe not even emulate it, but how can I take that idea and apply it to myself? I like that this person has this. Okay, well, then that means that I want something. Okay, then I'm going to work on myself, as opposed to just sitting there and being like, well, why do they have this and I don't? Take a real hard look at it. I'm jealous of this, or I have envy for this person. Why? What is it that they're doing? Is it that they're always happy and bubbly? Is it that they're always online? I wish I could do that. Well, then, okay, deep breath. Maybe it's time to take a page out of their book and do that yourself. And after a while, you just end up being really supportive of people, because instead of seeing things like, oh, I'm jealous of that, it's like, yo, that bitch has that. Like, yo, that's awesome. I'm going to do that too. And using it as like a positive driving force instead of a negative, oppressive feeling. I found that's something that I do myself. And I know it's not easy to just turn around and take jealousy and make it something positive. That's not something I'm saying you can just do. But I know as myself, for an educator and someone that, you know, is in the community that wants to be supportive for others, that was something that really helped me be able to show up for my community and not have those envious feelings, and really be able to pump up other performers, because I really was impressed by what they did. I really thought it was cool because it was something that I really liked. And if anything would give me any kind of jealous feelings, that would tell me I actually like this person. So I'm going to go talk to them and I'm going to go be friends with them because I think that's cool.
I love that.
What you all three mentioned, Lucy, Nikki, Brittany, thank you for your inputs. Actually, you just brought to the table one important thing here, and it is that our support groups actually give us and center us. Like you're on your head, think you are thinking bad things about yourself. How ugly, how this girl is better than me, how much money she makes that I'm not doing. Having some friends that can help with things is setting you back. Like, look, I love you. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you, to understand you. And for me, you're the most amazing, beautiful human being. Okay? So get out of your head. I'm here. We are here. Those things, that support actually is one of the most important things that help you to get out of that. Because actually your loved ones actually usually are the first ones that know when you're stressed or distressed before you notice. Like, I'm fine. And the people are looking at you like, look, you are not eating, you are not sleeping, you are overworking. Let's go out and get some coffee. Let's go a walk. They help you to do that. They help you to get out of the loop you get inside of your head, actually. So that's a great thing here. Even if they are or they aren't in the industry, having a support group that understands and look at you and say, I know you're not good. Let's go get something. Like, get out of the computer. Let's get some sunlight, please. Having that support group that does that to you helps you like, okay, maybe things aren't as catastrophic as I'm seeing it on my head. So that's one of the amazing things about having a support group. And just as Christian mentioned it, a healthy support group. People that really respect you, understand you, and be there for you with compassion. That is the theme of this summit. With compassion, love, and lots of respect. So what you three mentioned is like, for all the people that are listening to me, get a support group. We're going to dwell on how you can build a support group, a healthy one, because most people in this industry don't know how to do that. There is no manual, like, look, this step after step, how you get a support group, how you refine it, and especially the competition. Brittany and Nikki mentioned it. the fact that the jealousy, the anger, the sadness, is hard to reach out and say, hello, I'm a sex worker too. You see someone you see someone in Twitter, on Instagram, you say, God damn, I would love to be friend of her. She looks amazing. She's great. And she lives around my place, but I'm not so comfortable in reaching out. I don't know how to handle that. So in this moment, I would like to ask you, how do you think, what tips, advice, or in your experiences, what has helped you to build that, your support? Have you found the one you have around you?
Sorry, I'm probably talking too much. I'm gonna stop after this one. But
we are all talking too much. Don't stop yourself here.
So specific stories help me the most. So in the past, well, one thing I needed support with was for me, I've been like raped, abused, and gaslit more by sex workers than by non-sex workers, right? And more by cis women than males or trans women, right? And they're, most of the time, they're very popular on the internet. And these are people that work with my friends and stuff like that. So it's very important that the people I hang out with, I just say friends, my friends, I don't call them support groups, but that my friends don't feed the unhealthy parts of what's going on in me with that. And they do feed what actually works. So when I say what actually works, like the healing, doing the work to healing, specifically, it's on my calendar to lay down on my sofa with my cats and a bottle of water and a hanky. And if I'm going to cry, cry and just feel it. Right. And normally, honestly, it actually takes 5 minutes, but I give myself a couple hours, like every week, to just do that. Sometimes it's a panic attack and a flashback. Sometimes it's just, I just sit there and I just try to feel it, like, and not tell the story. The what happened, I'm a victim, that's unfair, that shouldn't have happened, does not help anything at all, right? So if I want to buddy up with someone, like ask someone out to be my friend, like after a shoot or an event or this panel or something, like let's say NIKKI seems cool, I want to be friends with NIKKI, so I hit up NIKKI after, like let's buddy up, hey, let's get coffee, right? And then if I meet up with NIKKI and I open up a little bit, and then if NIKKI's like, that is so unfair, that should not have happened to you, who did that, let's cancel them, I have to meet that with, hey, that doesn't help me. I need to heal. I just want to get better. You know what I mean? We're all human. I am always looking for, who have I hurt? And I'm sure someone's going to come out of the woodwork next week where I'll be like, oh my God, I was a fucking piece of shit. I need to amend that. So there's no judgment here, right? So when I'm cultivating this, my buddies, my friends, I'm looking for people who are interested in that, doing the work. Are we going to heal together? And not, when I was younger, to be honest, it was clout. It was oh my God, they're verified on Instagram. Yeah, I want to hang out with them. Maybe we'll be in a picture together, or like they can get me a shoot or something like that. I'm privileged now to not need that, so I don't give a fuck. I don't care about that. I want people in my life. I want to be someone in someone else's life that is like, hey, but okay, are you going to shrink, or like you doing some work, or you can't afford a shrink? I get it. You got the people you talk to though. And then I don't have to be the person they talk to. Like if I'm buddies with NIKKI's going through a hard time, I'm like, you got people you talk to? If NIKKI's like, I do. Cool. I'm not going to like, I can really help you with that because I've been through this. I don't need to sell it. Okay. Right? I don't need to sell that. Like NIKKI's cool. NIKKI's got people, cool. But I'm there if someone needs it, But I just don't, I can very easily attract people who just want to feed that negative. I was hurt too. We've all been hurt, and we've all hurt people. You know what I'm saying? It's got to just like not cling to that, I think. So that's super important to me. And I love Christian and Brittany for that. I know them both. And, and both many times I've been on the phone with Christian and I've been like, I'm gonna feel this one. And Christian's like, yep. Yeah. It's just love. But there's he can't fix it for me. If he would, he could. If he could, he would, and if I could, but we gotta, just be into that, the work, Super important. And actually asking people out is key. If I don't do that, it's not going to happen. In these days, I have to accept that I'm going to text people and they're not going to respond. And then they're going to like my thing on Instagram and then they're still not going to respond. You know what I mean? That's just the world we're in now. So it's like a sales gig. I got to ask 10 to get one, you know what I mean? Just constantly out there. And I accept that about where we're at in the world post-pandemic. People are flaky. It's cool. You know, it's where we're at. So yeah, that's how I do it.
Before anyone puts an input, sorry, Nikki, to interrupt you, but
Okay.
there is a thing that is concerning me, and this that Christian is being awfully quiet. We want to hear your voice, Christian. You are here too. You have some voice and some experience to put up. So please join us. It feels like we are eating up the discussion and the panel, and this is not fair.
No, I'm just listening to all the wise wisdom that's being spoke and all the great things and enjoying just being an active listener.
Yeah, but you are here to put your voice too. It's like we are swallowing up, and it's not necessarily something bad, but I want to hear you too. You are part of this panel. You're part of this discussion. We want to hear your voice as well. What do you think? What have been your experiences involving your support network, and having your support around you? How has that made you feel? I want to hear you because you are the male representation of sex worker right now. I know it's a heavy thing to carry on. I'm sorry to put that on your shoulders, but I want to hear you as well.
I appreciate that. It's definitely different being a male in the industry, I think, versus being a female. There's a lot of differences in you know, I think how society perceives somebody in need when they're male, especially in the emotional and mental sense. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of men, I think, out there that or male identifying people that feel like they need to hold, you know, be strong and be alone with their feelings and their problems and not share, not be open. It's looked at as a weakness. And I personally have gotten past that stigma myself because I can't afford not to. Like Lucy said, like I need to be the one to reach out when I'm actually struggling. It is nice to have people in your life that recognize when you are and can kind of poke and prod a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely need to be responsible for my own healing and my own well-being and be an active participant and say when I need something, when I need help, when I need support, and do that work. Like Lucy was just talking about, that work is so important. You know, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If I sit around and I do the same things and expect different results, I don't think I'm going to get very far. And you know, I struggle with the complex, the inferiority complex, the imposter syndrome. You know, looking at other people's success and comparing myself. You know, that old comparison is the thief of joy, or envy is the thief of joy. One of those, you know, both are not healthy for me in a way, to look at people and think, man, they've got so much more than I do. They're doing so much better than I am. They're so much more attractive than I am. They perform better than I do.
Mm-hmm.
All those are not beneficial to me and my growth as a person. And I find that if I want to be supported by the people around me, I need to be a supportive person first. That's a really big key part for me. Is I've learned that a lot of the joy and the kind of the rewards in the terms of how I feel is reflected in how much work I'm putting in making others feel those same things. When I help others, I get this feeling as though somebody's done something for me, like I've gotten some sort of return on what I've done. And it's never gotten that way from taking. I never get that same feeling from taking from somebody or for having something done for me. Or it's always when I'm doing for others and I'm being supportive and I'm thinking about somebody else's well-being or what they might need or how I can best, you know, help them in their life. That's when I get the most reward back and from an emotional sense. You know, I feel the most fulfilled as a person. I get the most satisfaction of what I've done with myself and my choices. And so a good example is somebody recently just moved to Las Vegas and they're coming out of a relationship and getting back into sex work after like a 5-year break, I've made it a very important part of my day-to-day to reach out to that person and to say, hey, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? How have your shoots been doing? Do you want to grab coffee? We're going out to lunch. I would love it if you would join. Come over later on. We're having a fire in the backyard. Like all these things to make somebody feel like they're not alone, that they're supported, that they have somebody that's looking out for them and they have their best interest in mind, and that they're an open, warm, welcoming place to just come and crash or come by and have a coffee and say, shit's fucked up. I'm feeling kind of sideways. And that's huge. It's monumental. If I can do that for one person, then I feel that the rewards for me are so much more than if I'm just sitting at home on my phone on Twitter looking at all the things that people are doing better than me. You know, my life is so much more full of joy and happiness and contentment and all these just really great things when I'm involved in being a supportive person rather than looking at all those things that I don't have or that I'm not, you know. And NIKKI said perfectly. I mean, how many times I've looked at my pictures or videos of myself back when I was hypercritical of myself physically, or even just who I was as a person. And I didn't have that confidence and that ability to just be okay with myself and think, man, look at that young strapping stud, you know. And it's such a difference in perspective. It's such this mind shift and this inability to be in the moment and be loving and all that. You know, that was such a great little talk that you gave there, NIKKI. So when I'm on Twitter and I see somebody that I feel envious of, or I feel like, man, I just wish I could do it that good, or I looked that good, I comment and I go, you look great. You're awesome.
Wow,
you know?
That's a really nice way to deal with that.
It's a big it's a change of mindset for me. It's a change of like, you don't need to, like, this isn't a competition for me. Like, I feel like the sex industry is big enough for everybody. There's a lot of consumers out there. So I'm not in this famine mentality. I'm in this encouragement mentality where I want to see people do great things and I want to see them put out the best quality stuff that they can and be proud of it and give them high fives and like hell yes and good jobs, because that feels so much better. That feels so much better for me as a human to give that out than to sit back and go, yeah, but you're fucking fat anyways, or you're, you got a pimple on your chin or whatever. Like, how terrible, how terrible that makes me feel on the inside. I don't want to be that kind of person. I want to be somebody who thinks, man, that guy's always shouting people out. He's always just giving people props and lifting people up and telling people good job. And like, that feels better. All of that in completion makes me feel better overall. And so, yeah, I think the key to having support is be supportive.
See, I was right. You have a lot to say. A really great insight to put on in the conversation. I was great about making you talk. Oh my God. What you just mentioned is been amazing, and something to get some thought, like how you can be supported, supporting people. You can get support when you give that support, that when you reach out, when you, with those you love, you are there for them. Because if you are there for them, they can be there for you. That's a lovely knowledge and a lovely advice, and especially the one which you mentioned it about commenting something nice. That's amazing.
Hi guys, I'm just popping in because I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but sorry, we're getting to the age stage where we're going to have to start wrapping up. And I just wanted to double check that we've actually got some of our, we've covered all the points in Q&A. I noticed that a few things that come through. We've got a couple of people that just wanted to say that they've got no questions to share, but they appreciate each of you being so authentic and vulnerable. We've got a note to say that there were a thank you for sharing. Every single one of you have shared something over the years I've felt and can imagine so many others have felt, and I think it's conversations like this that bring growth. It's always important for us sex workers to still always have time for us. We're all selfless many times, and it's normally from the time we didn't have anyone, and we should be proud of that. So there's also, are there any adult industry specific 12-step groups, Alcohol Anonymous? Is it something that's the Pineapple could think about forming? Now, Pineapple already do have quite a few drop-in groups. We do have our Mondays and Fridays for general. Then we also have a Wednesday group, which is specifically for the BIPOC collective. Also have a monthly male-only group. We are always open to new queries and questions and different options. So if anybody would like to get in touch about giving us other options that they'd like us to do, then we're more than happy to receive them. Do send them over to contact@pineapplesupport.org. Right, at the moment we are, so we've also got, Lucy's just put in a detail that we've got soberporners@gmail.com. So if you want to get any help about getting sober or any on that sort of, so that's soberporners@gmail.com. Okay, and guys, thank you so much for being present with us today. Yiset, lovely to see you, and thank you for hosting the panel. Thank you so much, and I'm going to close you down now, if that's okay, because we've now got our next.
Thank you all for joining me. It was a pleasure knowing you, meeting you, and hearing your experiences. I've loved that a lot. Thank you for having me. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.